what's up guys? Jerome here from the Bonsai Supply, and it is finally time to dig up my Japanese maple. So this is a Japanese maple, and I cut this tree, I cut the top off last year in the fall. And if you want to learn more about it, why I did it, when to do it, and how to do it, please check out the video that I'm going to leave at the end of this video, so you can continue watching this video and then watch this video at the end of this video. Okay? Makes sense, right? Cool. Alright, so today we're going to dig up this tree. So as you can see, it is starting to bud on the lower sections, which means that the energy is already starting to travel. There's already sap flow, there's water movement. So I want to go ahead and dig this tree up today because it is really warm. And all of my Japanese maples are already flushing out completely. So this tree is probably just a week to 2 weeks behind of completely leafing out. Also, this section does not have any buds on it yet, which means that I can actually grab the tree on top here to loosen it if I have to, and I can carry it much easier. And so therefore I decided to do it now versus waiting when I have buds here, and then it's going to be very difficult for me to grab the tree and actually lift it out of the ground. Now, in terms of digging this tree up, trees that have such a big root flare usually are grown in shallower grounds. So I have a feeling that once I cut through these really thick roots here, that I will probably be able to rock this tree back and forth already with very minimal effort. However, every tree is different from each other, so I don't really know how hard this tree is to dig up until I actually get to work. Also, this section here was cut, as you can see, when they put in the new concrete, which means that when these roots here were cut, it forced the tree to produce more feeder roots right in this area here. Right, when you chop big roots, the tree has to resend feeder roots from this base here. So I do have a feeling that we will have a lot of feeder roots, especially on this side, which is of course very, very helpful. So here's the first thing that I'm going to do. I'm going to cut a channel around the perimeter of the roots. The first cut is going to be the section that I'm actually going to lift out, and the other section I'm going to cut right behind it so that I can dig that out and then put my shovel underneath and work the roots out that are underneath and then pop it up. And that's kind of the idea. So let's go ahead and start to cut around the perimeter and see what we find along the way and see how hard it is to dig up this tree. Alright, so I can already tell that this tree is going to be extremely stubborn. Some of the roots back here are about this thick, and I have a really hard time getting through it with my saw. So I'm going to transition to my axe. I know it might look a little brutal, but this is going to help me to work around the tree much faster, break up the thick roots much faster. And once the tree is out, I can always go back to my saw and then make the cuts a lot nicer. So don't worry about, using an axe or a big saw into the ground or anything like that, because before we pot it, we're gonna fine-tune the roots. So that is perfectly fine. So let's get to work. Alright, so now that the tree is finally out of the ground, which by the way took a lot longer than expected because there were a lot of roots underneath that went straight down like tap roots. There were probably like 3 or 4 really thick ones and they were really hard to reach, but you know, with determination we managed to get it out after all. So once we got it out, I took the sawzall and I just cut around and removed all of these thick roots here. However, I'm going to leave all of these feeder roots in here. I have a nice patch here, here, and another nice patch over there of feeder roots, which is going to help me create roots. So now that we have it this far, we have to get it into a box. So we actually have to build a box. So I just went to a garden improvement store and I picked up some wood. And the wood that I picked up is not treated wood. It is just plain wood. I don't like to use pressure treated wood because I feel like that essentially the chemicals will leak out of the wood and the tree will absorb it, and I don't think that's really good for the tree. So therefore I went with plain wood, and the tree is only going to be in here for 1 to 2 years just to produce roots. Then we're going to put it into a big ceramic pot or a big bonsai pot. We'll see what we can find in the meantime, but this only has to last for, like I said, 1 to 2 years, so that's perfectly fine. So I use this type of wood. I'm going to use this as the walls of the pot, and I'm going to use this thinner wood here as the bottom. So I'm going to build the bottom first. I'm going to have to measure, of course, and then I'm going to build the bottom, the walls. And then actually I picked up some of these as well, which I'm going to use as reinforcement on the bottom in the corner, but I also want to make some feet out of this, just so that it is easier to pick it up from the ground. Because once it is potted, this tree will go on the ground, because that's best to put trees that have been just collected, that don't have a lot of roots. Always put them on the ground. Earth contact is so important after collecting a tree. So I want to make sure that it's just slightly off the ground. I might even be able to make some handles just so it's easier to pick it back up once we have to pick it back up. All right, let's get to work. Right, so it just started raining, so I had to move it under this canopy a little bit more. The bottom is done for the pot. Now I'm going to take the tree and set it on top so that we can then build the rest around the tree. And then when we're done, we can just move the tree back and forth to push soil under it. And that will be it. Actually, first, we're going to go ahead and drill just a few drainage holes. And then that's it, and then we're going to go ahead and pot the tree. And I'm going to leave it on this cart so it makes it very easy to just roll it into the greenhouse, unload it, because the thing is, it's not that wide, so this is actually a good way to grab the pot like this or even like that. So that's perfect. So now we're going to go ahead and drill the drainage holes, put the tree on top, and then build the pot around it. Alright, so now that the tree is sitting inside of this pot, the pot is sturdy, it looks really well, it is nice and shallow. I put some blocks underneath the roots just to balance the tree and prevent it from falling over. I'm not gonna even bother tying this tree down. It is so heavy, it is not moving. I would have to push my entire body against it to move it, so this tree is really rock solid in here. So now I'm going to use good bonsai soil right away. I'm not going to use any nursery soil or black soil, and that's where I see a lot of the problems happening when people collect trees. Make sure that the tree has enough space in the pot. That's number one. If the tree does not have enough space in the box, the main roots tend to die back. That's number one. Number two, you want to get a lot of roots in here, as many roots as possible. And you can only achieve that with good bonsai soil because the lava and the pumice, they allow for air to come into the pot and aerate the roots. If you use black soil, it just creates a lot of wet and moisture inside the pot, but that does not create roots. What creates roots is simply air. So let's get to work. Alright, so last but not least, I filled in the entire pot with good bonsai soil, and this is my current front of what I think this tree will look the best, or this is what I'm going to keep as the front for now. I like these channels that it has here in the trunk. It gives the trunk movement versus being just a fence pole. So it gives it movement, and then it comes over to the right and dips forward to the front a little bit. Also, the root spread I think looks the best from this angle as well. Now I can imagine that in the summer I might shorten it to probably around here and then regrow later in here, but overall I don't think I want to have the tree any taller than like this, and probably have the first branch in here, something like that. Now this is also a little trick that might help you be more successful with trees that have large cuts. Once you water it, once you pot it, water it thoroughly. Make sure that all of the dirt goes out of the bottom and the water runs clear. But then, in order for you to water the next time, wait until the soil is almost bone dry. So first, thoroughly water it. Flush out everything in here until the water comes out clean from the bottom. Then, I'm not going to water this tree again until the soil is pretty much bone dry again, because that will help callus over all of these large cuts that I have made and will force roots. So, but then after that, I will never let it dry out again to that extent. It's just the very first time after repotting that you water it well. You don't water it until it's almost bone dry, then you water it again and you keep it moist on that level moving forward. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you have any questions on collecting trees or building a box or anything else, please let me know down in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will catch you guys next time. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoy bonsai content, make sure that you subscribe to this channel and check out our new book, Freestyle Bonsai. Available now for pre-order on Amazon.com in the US, Canada, Australia, and Europe. And if you have already pre-ordered it, make sure that you participate for a free Zoom session on our website, thebonsaisupply.com. See you guys next time.